All right. Episode 27.
Hello.
How's it going, Tyler?
It's going.
So, you told me earlier that you are going to Tucson today.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you going on is it like a tour or just a show out there?
It's just a weekender. My band Louis on tour is going down to Groundworks in Tucson.
Nice. Is it going to be like a bigger show, or is this just like a...
It's probably not going to be that big.
No.
No.
That's all right. Those are pretty fun sometimes, though.
It'll be our first time out there. I actually played at Groundworks earlier this month.
Oh, yeah. So it's your first time in this band to go out there?
Yeah. First time for all of us to go to Tucson together.
Nice. So what are you doing with your band, Louis on tour? Are you like doing anything new, or
like
in your show, are you playing any new music? Or is it
no, probably not.
No.
I mean, it depends on, I guess, if you've heard us.
Yeah.
We've got a 6-track EP out, but at least probably 3/4 of the set list is songs that have not been recorded yet.
Nice. That's pretty cool, though. At least people would hear some of the stuff that's... Is it coming out, or is it...
Eventually, it's just expensive.
It's expensive to record, huh?
Yeah. We found a producer that we really like, but the production cost is $700 per song, so it's pretty pricey to do. And we've got about an album's worth of songs just on the back burner waiting to be recorded.
Yeah. What do you get for $700 a song? Like, is it just the mix, or do you get like mastered and everything?
Oh no, everything.
Oh, okay. So you get back the final product like ready to publish?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I mean, if it includes mastering and all that, I mean, it's expensive, but if it's an all deal, like all in one package.
Yeah, and the guy's got his like home studio setup. It's got like soundproofing on the roof. They like raised the roof just to get everything precise. They used some kind of like algorithm to like get the measurements for everything, and
Nice.
then they raised the roof of this like second part of his house. They expanded the back wall, and there's like actual soundproofing panels. Like,
yeah, the walls
you
are
went all
probably
out
not
for the studio.
It's probably not 90-degree angles, huh? They're probably like a little bit off. Like one of the walls is probably like...
I think the back one is 90, but there's like this like hanging panel above him that's like kind of like at a slant.
Yeah, it's like a 15-degree
And then
or whatever.
I think the back one might be angled.
Yeah, they have these crazy programs where you just set like a mic in a room, like a reference mic in the center, and it'll play sounds through the speakers, like on the sides of the room. Like you can hear the different tones. It just sounds like robots. Like it's kind of weird. But the mic will pick it up and all the echoes that come with it, and it'll like map the room out and tell you where then you need the angles and all that.
Yeah, it was something along those lines.
Yeah, it's pretty much AI, just figuring out how your room is supposed to be laid out. It's nuts.
It just looked like his garage, but like he had it all set up. He had like his desk, and he had a piano in there, all these instruments, and he definitely knew what he was doing. So
yeah, I like those home studio setups. I used to do like some residential electric, and I would see those like over in the nice neighborhoods. You know? You'd see some guys with like a home studio up at the top of the stairs in the house. You're just there to install like a ceiling fan, but it's just like, god damn, like wish I could be installing this shit instead.
Yeah, we're like seeing what's like how all of that is set up.
Yeah.
We went through Audio Confusion prior to that with Jalapaz Nelson. He did our 6-track EP. What we did was the punk rock deal where we record all the instrumental all in the same room at the same time. So it's kind of like a live recording, and then we overdub the vocals. And it was good for the time for just getting music out.
Yeah.
He even said that we probably should have just gone like overdub everything.
Yeah, that's
Um,
probably easier actually. Like
I mean, it
for
would have been more time consuming and um, probably taken more than one day. We did the whole thing in 10 hours.
oh well, 10 hours is a long fucking time, dude.
10 and to get everything right. Like
Right? Like how many takes per song? Like about
at a certain point we realized we don't continue if we mess up because we will burn out. So we have to stop. If any of us messes up, we stop, then start again.
yeah.
So we got it. We got 6 songs. We went in thinking we'll get 4.
Oh, nice. You got 6.
Yeah.
So you finished the 4, and you're just like, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Like
We
have,
paid for the time. Let's keep going. Let's see how
yeah,
much we can
nice.
get.
How did that go? Like, did your crowd like it? Like, did it sound good?
So it's held us over for about 2 years now. We're definitely hurting to get something out, but
Yeah.
you know, it's
And
we don't want to
maybe
rush it.
have you tried to hit up like some people who have recording equipment who might just do it like who don't actually have like a straight business and maybe just try to get like a demo or something?
I
Like,
mean, that was the objective with this EP. So
yeah.
we got that out, and we're kind of just sitting on that. Like people who have heard of us and have listened to our music, that's what they've listened to. The next round of tracks that we're gonna release is so much higher quality.
Oh,
So
nice. That's
we're
good.
kind of just sitting on it, and you know when you have something and like you're just burning to release it,
Yeah.
but you know it's not ready. Like there's so much still that needs to happen. So you just wait with that anticipation, and your fans are waiting with that anticipation. That's the feeling we've got right now.
Yeah. What if you're waiting too long?
I
Like
mean, it's coming. It's gonna come. It's just a matter of time.
yeah. There's just sometimes people sit on stuff like it's not ready. And like they like will it ever be ready?
Oh, it's done. One of the tracks is done.
Yeah.
It's just we're building a music video. We've got a script. We've got some locations scouted. We've got a camera op that we've been working with for logistics. One of the shoots is going to be a house party, which is going to be fun.
Nice.
And then we've got like 4 other tracks that we're working on getting done with the producer. He's really busy, so that's also part of the problem.
Yeah. Well, so you're working with a producer to make the video?
Oh no,
Or
for the tracks.
oh, you mean for the tracks? Okay.
Mhm.
So are you pretty much just producing your own video and just like
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Who did you get for camera?
Uh there's this band called Wild Giants. We're
Yeah.
using the same producer as them for their I think past 2 albums. They connected us with Dan. I don't know if he's got like a company name or anything. It's just Dan. um, but he's got really high quality work, and he's worked with a lot of different artists. He's from Canada and he moved down here. Um, so for their latest music video, they had a camera operator shoot their music video. So we met him at their album release show at Lost Leaf. And we've kind of just been slowly working on getting him involved.
Nice. That's
It's
cool.
hard because there's so many different locations and there's so much logistically to think about.
Yeah, I believe it, man. Especially when it's well, does he like know the area, or is because you said he moved down here from Canada? How long ago was that?
Oh, for the producer or
Yeah.
the camera op?
Sorry, I guess I'm talking about the camera op.
The camera op, I think, is from here. But
Okay.
even at that, like we're talking about going to like the dunes and shooting. Like
Oh, that would be dope, dude.
he doesn't know the location. We don't know the
So
location.
how many different locations are you gonna do for the video?
3 total. One of them is gonna start off like I actually don't know how much I can say of this.
Oh shoot. Well, let me stop you then. I don't want to like reveal too much.
I know we're allowed to talk about the music video. I don't know how much of the music video we're allowed to talk about.
Oh well, we can stop talking about the content then if you don't want to give it away. That's fine. It's understandable.
The song is going to be Shaman Mama, and I'll leave it at that. You
All
can
right.
let that. Oh, let that just knocked over your pop filter. Let that like visually give you an idea.
All right. That sounds good. I'll try to visualize that before it comes out. When is it coming? When is the video coming?
No idea.
No idea.
It's going to be shot throughout the rest of the year.
Okay. You're going to be working on this shooting just like do you have a schedule for it, or are you just kind of like flying like
We have. It's kind of loose right now on the exact dates. We've got one date locked in. We had another one that we kind of just put a date on the calendar to get going, and what that does is that kind of lights a fire under you, like, oh, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this.
get prepared?
Yeah. So we were not prepared, which is why we set that date in the first place. For the second one, we will be, because that one's just a house party, and we know the people that are running it, and they're actually. Have you heard of Boy Liquid?
Boy Liquid, no.
They recently changed their name to Dogpile. They run Oasis House. Have you heard of that?
Nope.
No.
This is all new to me.
It's a Tempe house. They do house shows.
Okay.
So we're working with them. It's going to be Dogpile, Louis on tour, and then I think we're still looking for a third band. I'm not sure who's working on that. But the premise is going to be like low key, like people who are there know we're shooting a music video, but it's also going to be a show, and we're going to have like a barbecue and stuff.
Yeah. That's cool. Hopefully,
for
hopefully
us,
the shoot goes well.
For us, it's just going to be like one scene. I think they're doing the same thing for a music video for them, but I think the whole party is going to be their music video.
Oh, okay. So you're just going for like you guys playing the instruments pretty much.
Yeah,
Well, I don't want to talk too much about the content. Shit, we're getting back into.
It's kind of like a
video.
cameo of us, and then like
Oh, I see.
goes into something else
Something else mysterious.
in the shamanic realm.
Nice. So, how many have you actually gone on tour with your band?
Yes, we recently went on tour in March. We went to Amarillo, Texas. 2 stops in Norman, Oklahoma, Wichita, Kansas, Columbia, Missouri, and St. Louis.
Damn, that is some boring drives, dude.
Yeah,
There's nothing out there.
we got a lot of footage of it too. Just
Yeah.
the
Amber waves
plains,
of grain. Yeah.
farmland.
Yeah, man. I went
It
on.
was cool to us though. Like, the drummer and the vocalist are from Missouri, so I would assume they have done the drive. My
think
guitarist lived in Oklahoma, or I think Oklahoma, for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anyone else has done that drive. It was kind of boring.
Yeah.
We weren't driving though. We had the vocalist's husband drove the entire time, and we rented an RV too, so all of us were together. So that was kind of fun.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool then. Well, sucks for him. I guess if he didn't mind driving, but
He was kind of like our manager in that case. Like, he was like running the show. Like
the tour
we gotta
manager.
get here. We gotta get here. We've got RV park spots where we're sleeping. Like, we get to the venue, unload, reload, get to the RV spot, and then we got to wake up at a certain time. Like, he had everything planned out.
It's really good to have a tour manager.
It was helpful.
Trying to have the band all tired and fucking trying to figure all that shit out while they're trying to get ready to play a show. Like, dude, it's so hard. Like, it helps so much to have somebody else who's on top of that shit for you.
We had our tour manager. I was joking about him doing that. Like, he's been very helpful. And then we also had my guitarist's girlfriend who was running merch. So we had our
Yeah.
merch person, our tour manager, and then the 5 of us. There was 7 people plus 2 dogs.
And 2 dogs.
Yeah, that was our security.
Oh, nice. Were they big dogs?
No, they're herding dogs though. They're cattle dogs,
Oh, okay.
so they can.
Like Aussies or something like that.
I'm totally gonna get whatever breed my
Oh,
guitarist's
okay.
dog is wrong.
Oh, that's
I
all
already
right.
said Australian Shepherd once and it was wrong.
He's like, no.
He's like, he noticed on one of the posts. I run the social media for the band.
Yeah.
He noticed on one of the posts that the hashtag was Australian Shepherd. And he was like, I just noticed that that's the wrong breed.
It's like some other.
I was just
other
like, we got to
country.
800 though. We got to 800. 800 likes.
People like Australian Shepherds. So
It's a dog. People like dogs.
you could have wrote hashtag dog and it would have been the same thing.
The other dog was a corgi, so
Oh, that's
I know
easy.
that one.
Yeah. Everybody's seen Cowboy Bebop.
That's a good show.
Yeah.
They've got really good music in that show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that director. He does a Samurai Champloo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's why that one's really good. And
I haven't checked out that one, but I've heard of it.
yeah, it's got really cool music in it too, like the jazz kind of like lo-fi style.
I love that.
It like I think it's like when it starts in the time when like feudal Japan is like ending. So like guns aren't very common at all. They exist, but they're like really rare. Most people still fight with swords and shit. And
Is that the one with the... So there's this samurai, I think he's got like red hair. Or is that a different one?
I think he's got like brown hair. Oh, you're thinking of like Rurouni Kenshin?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
that
what
one.
it is.
That one's cool too.
That was a
But that
good
one's
one.
that one's like way older.
Yeah.
It was like from the 90s or something.
Yeah, I remember growing up watching that one.
Yeah, that one was kind
I
of
gotta
cool.
go back and rewatch that.
I like the Yu Yu Hakusho.
That's a good one too.
That's like my favorite old like 90s anime.
I
don't
think that
really
was
count- I
that
don't
was like
count Dragon
2000s,
Ball.
wasn't it?
Huh?
Dragon Ball was 80, like
Yeah.
Dragon Ball.
Yeah, that was
80s.
80, and then like the 90s was like the Dragon Ball Z or whatever.
Like the Frieza and Cell Saga, I think were 90s.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
one of my all-time favorites, Dragon Ball.
yeah, of course. That's why I don't count it.
Yeah.
Like it's good. Like it was a classic.
It's
Everybody
too
likes
good.
it.
Now
Yeah.
everyone knows.
It's like saying, yeah, Lord of the Rings is my favorite movie. I was like, yeah, no shit. Like it's the best movie ever. Like or best 3. But so I don't count Dragon Ball. Yu Yu Hakusho is my favorite, like from the 90s though.
Have you ever seen it's called Eureka 7?
No, I haven't.
That one is pretty good.
Is it an older
the main
one?
character is a kid and he's a little bitch for a while.
Like go
but-
on.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Kind of less so than Gohan, but in the same
Yeah.
vein.
Whiny.
Yeah. I mean, but he's a kid, so like
Well, they have to start somewhere. Like
yeah,
they have to
you
like
got to
make
see the character
grow.
develop.
Yeah. They got to start him off as a little bitch so they can ride him into a badass.
That one, it's kind of like have you seen Code Geass?
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to that with like the fighting robots and like the green-haired alien kind of thing.
All right.
Both of those are similar in Eureka 7, but there's also like an element of the fighting robots where like they like surf on the jet streams, which is pretty dope. And there's kind of a cool twist with the show.
Yeah, there's always like some crazy twist.
There's
at
got to
the
be.
end.
That's how you keep people in.
Yeah, Code Geass was crazy. I remember
That's
watching
my
that
all-time
one.
favorite.
Yeah.
Other than Dragon Ball Z, that the Code Geass, like I've rewatched that one a few times.
Yeah, I've only watched it once, honestly, and like it's awesome. Like I remember most of it like from that one watch, and it's like that's kind of rare in itself. But I really enjoyed that one just because like how it was written. It was like mostly about strategy.
The
and
whole
how
time,
how the
like,
robots
you have
are like
no idea what
flanking
is
each
happening,
other, and
every single time, every single time something shifts, you're like, wait, what?
it was all planned.
It was all
This
like,
is all part of my strategy, and you're like, holy fuck, like these people are screwed.
yeah.
But yeah, that one's cool. It's because
That one is
strategies
wild.
like change back and forth constantly through the whole thing. There's just like armies of robots. It's not just like one-on-one battles like most anime. It's
It's
like
like
squadrons against squadron.
it starts out like rebel groups fighting, but it just expands into this like major massive war.
Yeah, it's
And
like
like you know the war is going on, but what
World War
happens you don't
whatever.
expect.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Psychopaths?
Yeah, Psychopaths is another cool one.
That one is a mind fuck.
Yeah, where it's like they have like cameras and like they can read your criminal coefficient. It's just this random number they assign you based on like how your face looks. It's
Yeah.
like they read your eyeball or whatever to see your expression and
I would think it's probably like cortisol levels or like adrenaline or like stuff like that.
yeah,
Like they
stuff
can
like that
like
and
they're
like
I think or were they like chipped or something or like
well, I don't know. They kept a lot of data on you. It was like they had this whole system where they just kept data on people and like as soon as your
that
criminal
show scares
coefficient
me.
went too high, like you all of a sudden you're a criminal and they come arrest you because you're going to commit a crime.
There's
And
a
it's like
scene
what the fuck?
in that show where there's a bank robbery or like some kind of robbery and there's a bunch of hostages and they're all freaking out. So their crime coefficient goes up and they're surrounded by police and the police are convinced that they are the bad guys. So when they run out, the police just slaughter them. That show is so
It's
fucked up
brutal.
and it scares me because I feel like that is the direction we're heading.
Yeah, man. We're just gonna let AI decide who's good and bad.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like Psychopaths. There's something close to it. Have you seen the Orville?
No. Never heard of that one.
It's not an anime. It's like a live action like comedy show. It's like sci-fi, but it's Seth MacFarlane made a Star Trek show. And it's called the Orville. It's actually
That sounds so worth it.
It's pretty funny, dude. Like I'm not a fan of Seth MacFarlane, but that show's pretty good. Like he did really well
I mean,
with it.
Family Guy was good. American Dad,
Like the first half of Family Guy was good.
Cleveland Show,
uh,
all of those were. I mean, at the start
Cleveland
they
show
were
was
all.
bad.
I liked it.
Can't do the Cleveland show, man. It's so bad. And then like all the jokes are a stretch. Like, American Dad just gets super fucking weird, dude.
Yeah, it's
And then,
always there's
like,
an alien there.
I like the first few seasons are always good because it's like original.
Have you seen the
their
Christmas
ideas are like
ones?
fresh, huh?
The Christmas ones.
Yeah,
They just kill Santa Claus.
yeah. I think Futurama is my favorite from that era. Like
That's a good
my,
one.
That's like my favorite cartoon, hands down. Like there's nothing that beats Futurama. I laugh every time I watch an episode. Like I don't know. There's actually a season or two where Comedy Central did the writing, and it was really bad. Like
Really?
it's a stark difference. Like everybody is just retarded all of a sudden. Like they're all idiots and they have no idea what's going on. Like every character is the same. It's like, what's wrong with this season? Like these people weren't stupid before, but like, I don't know. It just gets weird. They just have random jokes that make
Was
no
that
sense.
early on?
I think no, it wasn't. Early on, it was Fox, and then they switched to Comedy Central. Comedy Central got it for a while, and then it got canceled because it was so bad. I forget the season numbers. It was like 4 or 5 or something. And then
Really?
after that, after it got canceled, it got picked up by somebody, and they did a bunch of movies. There's like 3 or 4 Futurama movies, and they're all hilarious. And then Fox, I think Fox picked it back up and did the movies.
I
And
don't
then
think I've seen the movies.
and then they picked it back up for the series again. And then they actually, in that series, they make jokes about how the writing is back to normal. And like, they like make jokes at Comedy
breaking the
Central.
fourth wall.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, dude. But yeah, Futurama's my favorite for sure. I need to get a Futurama tattoo. I'll get the spaceship or something on my arm. I don't know.
Planet Express.
Yeah. The one that like moves dimensions or whatever. It like shifts space time instead of propelling itself.
I love the voice actor that does Bender. He also does Jake the dog
Yeah,
from Adventure
It's
Time.
John DiMaggio. That
I
guy's-
love. He's just so
amazing.
funny.
He's good. He was in what's that movie I just recently watched? He's in pretty much like most Pixar movies now, and like most movies. He always has a cameo because everybody knows him. Like
He's got a recognizable voice. Just like I think because of how many things he's done.
yeah, for sure. shoot, I think he was in Zootopia, wasn't he? Didn't he do a cameo in Zootopia?
I'm not sure. That was a good movie too.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Pixar movies. That was just good. Like, it seems like too cutesy or like animals or whatever, but
It's got
like,
topical points.
it's a really like there's a lot of good jokes in that show or in that movie. Like it's pretty funny. Like when they're like storming the castle and there's like all those wolves on guard and she just starts howling and they're all like, oh no, and they all just start howling at the same time. They're like, I can't stop. Ooh. Like they just run past them all.
We have to do it.
It's like, what the fuck?
Are you in a band?
No, I'm not. I was helping out Argonaut for a while. I was like,
What's it called?
Argonaut. It's this
Argonaut.
it's like a death metal band in the scene. They've been around for a long time, but I was helping out them for a while, like doing their merch sales and trying to help out with marketing and social media and all that. But I started doing this podcast, and they didn't really need a manager, so they kind of just took it over themselves, and I focused on this podcast a lot, and
Fair.
yeah, so that's the closest I was in to a band. We actually went on tour a couple times, like some mini tours. We drove to Texas.
Nice.
So that's how I know how that drive is.
Yeah.
So drove like all the way to the east side of Texas. We went to Austin, and it's like, fuck. Like I've driven across the country before, so I knew
Texas
it was going to
is
be
rough.
bad.
I've driven through Texas, I think, 3 separate times now. Texas is fucking huge.
Yeah, dude, it just took forever.
And there is nothing there.
Like, I didn't really think about it. About like, yeah, it's in Texas. Okay, so we drive through New Mexico, but it's like, no, we're going to Austin.
There's also nothing in New Mexico. New Mexico's worse.
Well,
At least there's like windmills and like some like
Yeah.
plains and stuff in Texas.
I think we had a show in Austin, and then we had a show in Albuquerque, and then we were going to go to Flagstaff and then go back home. The Flagstaff one got canceled before we even left. So we were just going to do Austin and then Albuquerque. It was more of like a mini vacation than like an adventure rather than for the tour. Like it was like, well,
Yeah.
nobody's going to be like at these places because it was just like some random
I
like
mean, you
dive
never
bars.
know, but
Yeah, you never know, but it's like you can usually tell by the set list or like there was only like 3 bands playing, so you're like, okay, so this is just like a random night.
I
they
mean,
have
3
bands in.
that's enough for like
Yeah.
a 45-minute set per band.
The problem was with Argonaut is that it's like one of like the heaviest fucking bands in the local scene, and it's really hard to match them with anybody. And we would tell like venues like, this is super heavy metal, like we don't want to blow out your other bands. Like we don't want to be with like a blues band and then come on and it's Argonaut and like everybody leaves the bar.
Yeah.
Like so like we tell people like this
Did
is
they
the
book
heaviest it
the
can
shows through the venues?
be. And I forgot how we did it. I think our guitarist at the time, or our guitarist Dan, he's the one that booked these shows, and he booked them through like some booking agency that he was just emailing them, and they set the shows up for him, and
That's helpful.
we learned a lot about that,
Yeah.
about how sketchy that can be.
Yeah.
But because Albuquerque was a nightmare, and we didn't actually even play there.
Where did they play in Albuquerque?
But it
Where
was called the
they
Red
didn't
Velvet
actually
Lounge.
play?
Yeah, we didn't actually play. We showed up there. We were with Condemned Till Dawn too, so we were with
I've heard of
those
them.
guys. Yeah, we went together, and then we went through Albuquerque. We showed up at the Red Velvet Lounge, and I've told this story before, but I'll run through it again. It was like this place. I think it used to be a thrift store, and then there was like some offices that were like off to the side. There was like a door that they cut in the wall, and just it was pretty bad. It was like 2 previous retail venues or retail shops that were turned into a bar, and like they had a stage near the back. And when we showed up, the main stage they were setting up a rap show. And we were like, okay, you guys are setting up a rap show tonight. They're like, yeah. Like, okay, so we were booked to play tonight, and we're a death metal band. Like, we're going to need a stage. They're like, oh, okay. Like, we were booked tonight. You know that, right? They're like, yeah, I think so. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And then they brought us into this little tiny room. It looked like it was like a tiny little room for like stand-up comedy or something. There's like 3 tables and some chairs. They're all wood.
Like
And like,
Lost Leaf?
I
Have you
don't
been
know.
there?
No,
No,
it was
it's
like
tiny.
it was pretty much as big as this living room we're sitting in here right now. Like
Yeah.
that was the room, like smaller even. It was bad. And then there was like a tiny little riser that could barely fit a drum kit. We didn't even take the drums out. And there was a chandelier hanging down that was like at eye level. It's like, why is this here? Like I can't stand up on the stage. And like we had a dude who was like 6'4" in our band, so it's like this ain't gonna work. But there nobody would be able to fit in there.
Yeah.
You know? It was full of tables and chairs.
What we did was we started booking like months out.
Yeah.
And we had our St. Louis and Columbia one worked out. There's a band called Conman Economy, and my vocalist is from Missouri, so she was in the music scene there and knew them. So they hooked us up with shows out there. So the whole objective was to get there. So we had the idea of going to Denver and then going over from Denver to Missouri. But Denver kind of fell through. We had some connections there that didn't really help us. We helped them out down here, though, so like we held our end. So Denver fell through, and we quickly needed to find something. So my vocalist, I hooked her up with a gig with Painting Fences. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. They were playing with... I don't remember who else they were playing with. They were playing with Amaya. Have you heard of them?
Yeah. Yeah, I know the Amaya guys. I've had a few of them on the podcast.
So their bassist was playing with Painting Fences, and Painting Fences, their vocalist lives in Oklahoma, so he couldn't make it to that show. So my vocalist stepped in and performed with them for just that one show. Nice. And at that show, I went to it, and I was talking to their guitarist, and she and I were talking to him about trying to find dates for this tour that we had planned that kind of started falling apart.
Yeah.
So that's how we got our Amarillo, Texas, and first Norman show. Second Norman show, I met a band at Oasis House called Sunfo. They played with Troubled Minds and Trash, I think is what they were called. And it was like a Midwest emo show. They were from Oklahoma. Trash is from Kansas. They hooked us up with the Kansas one. But Sunfo helped us get the second Norman show. So that like filled up the gaps that we had. We had to move our tour a little bit forward to make that happen, but yeah, it aligned well with Painting Fences, who was also going on tour at that time. So that was an interesting experience. Yeah. But we booked primarily through other bands.
Well, that's cool. That's helpful.
It worked out. For a while, we were just cold calling bands, trying to figure out like for the Kansas show, we built the bill. So
yeah,
we were hitting up random bands in the state we've never been to.
You should get a promotional fee or like a promoter's fee, right? A promoter's like bonus. Did you get money from the bar for making the show for them?
Oh, it was a house show kind of.
Oh, like, you just made a house show out of it?
It was a venue, but it was a house, like a house venue. Like they had like a stage built and like a sound system and everything. They've got like lights.
Oh, geez.
But it was a house.
Yeah, that's always.
It's called Monica House. It was pretty dope, honestly.
That's cool.
I mean, we got paid like $40.
Yeah. To set the whole show up. Man,
ticket sales, you know,
people do that full time, and
that was a weekday. I think it was like a Wednesday or Thursday night.
Oh, okay. Well, that's always been one of my dreams, is to set up a house like that, and like a stage and everything, just like the whole house, just set it up. knock down walls. Fuck it. Like that'd be dope.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Just have like one bedroom, so I could like sleep there if I get too wasted.
They actually lived in the house. They lived
Oh, really?
upstairs. It was a 2-story, and they had the whole bottom. Like there was this front living room where I guess so like through the front door to the left there was this whole living room. I guess like where people could just like hang out and meet. There's like
Yeah.
couches and stuff. And then through that room was the stage. Honestly, the other room was bigger. And then through the like directly behind like so the stage is right here facing out this way. There's a room, and that was the green room, which also had the bathroom. So like everybody walked through the green room to go to the bathroom, but the bands hung out in the green room. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it was built for it.
I mean, yeah, it was a house.
It's just a house.
It was just a house.
Yeah, I want to make like some sort of like brick, brick structure for that. Because like I did a house show in a brick house, and it was, dude, you couldn't hear it from the street. Like it sounded like somebody was playing loud music, but Argonaut was in there just fucking like going, like they were practicing before the set, and I was like, dude, turn it up to full fucking volume. However you're gonna play tonight, do it. And then I stood out in the street and I could like barely hear it because the house was brick and it had like double pane windows. It's like,
I don't know
that's
if you could
fucking
hear
sweet.
outside. That was my first time in Kansas. Kansas was actually pretty.
Was the neighborhood spread out or something?
Mm,
Like, cause I'm talking about like a Phoenix neighborhood. Like the houses are like,
the houses were bigger, and I think they were a little bit more spread out, but it was suburbs.
yeah.
You wouldn't know it was there though.
It just looks like normal.
It was
like
just a
normal.
regular house.
Nice. It'd be cool to do a show like in a basement. And like, all this like zero sound. So you like open the door to the basement. It's just like,
Oh, like a house basement?
yeah, that'd be cool.
I was thinking the underground.
The underground. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, it's a basement.
Yeah, same thing, I guess. So, have you been in any other bands?
So both of the guitarists and I were in a band called Elena Avenue for about 7 years. For that project, one of the guitarists was still the guitarist. The other one was the bassist, and I was the guitarist and vocalist. We released an EP, recorded by Cash Filburn. And we played a lot of shows for a while. We started writing and self-recording a full-length album, and that was quite a ambitious project because we wrote really complicated songs out of our comfort level intentionally, but that meant it took longer. And then self-recording also meant we needed to learn how to do it, so that took longer. And we stopped playing shows, so it became kind of hard to care about it as much.
Yeah, it's hard to be motivated.
And then our drummer quit, and then we got another drummer, and then we thought he died. He like straight up like vanished.
That's annoying.
Turns out he was an alcoholic and he was having some family problems, but so we lost 2 drummers within the span of like a year. And then my girlfriend at the time was going to school out here, and she was from Idaho. So her college shut down and she was going home. So I was like, guys, this isn't working. I'm leaving. And we were practicing at my house. So that was it. We were done.
Yeah, it's hard to deal with like too many things at once. Like
it was a lot. That was in 2019. Louis on Tour started right after I left, and then I came back in 2020, and they needed a bassist, so I joined.
Nice. Well, joined up in like a newer band then.
Yeah, it was a completely different band, but still 3 of the same members.
Oh, just a totally different direction. Like,
Different dynamic, different direction, different, I guess, kind of a different style. Not
yeah,
really, but kind of. Like, we all still have the same influences, so it's hard to be that different.
yeah, of course.
But there's new members. Our drummer's really good. Our vocalist is incredible. And having our former bassist as a guitarist, he's a way better guitarist. So
Yeah.
it changes the dynamic a lot.
Do you have like different goals or anything? You trying to do different things with this band than you were the other one?
I mean, the goal is to make it as musicians.
Just make it.
Just
Like, how are you trying to make money?
yeah, make it. I know, like, make it is such a broad, like,
Yeah.
I've
What's the
actually
goal?
I've started making money as a musician now, and it's like, what is making it?
Yeah.
Because I teach music lessons, I DJ karaoke, I am in multiple music projects, and like, I'm living off of it, but what is making it?
I don't know. Like, is it getting a big payout all at once? Is that making it?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Just getting a big fat paycheck you've never seen before?
The goal for us is to make it sustainable
Mm-hmm.
for
Each member.
all of us. Yeah,
So like
we're an
that.
apparel company that makes content and music. That's how we make our money. Just
Nice.
merch sales is definitely. We made a lot of money on tour with merch alone.
Oh yeah, I bet.
more than we got paid from any of the venues combined.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going on tour, like, that's how you're gonna make your money on tour is selling merch.
Yep.
If you go on tour without merch, you're an idiot.
Tangible products is how you make the money.
Yeah,
You hear that, kids?
yeah. You can't make money with views, like with music. You can't do it.
You can, but it's like $5.
You gotta like be pretty fucking big to pay
Yeah.
your bills with views.
Thousands of views. $5.
Millions.
That's it. Yeah,
You
millions.
need millions.
No,
and
millions. Millions will get you $10.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, if you want to fill your gas tank, you're gonna need millions of views.
Yeah. You're gonna need lots of shirts.
I don't know. You gotta like go viral and do like, gimmicky meme shit if you're gonna be on like YouTube making money. If you're not funny, like, good luck.
Yeah.
Have you seen the?
I'm not funny, but the rest of the band is.
It's a good joke.
I'm the bassist, so I'm useless.
Yeah, just play the bass, dude.
Yeah. I'm just here to play music, man.
That's all the bassists. They all say that. It's like, just here to play bass, man.
Yeah, it's funny.
Leave me
Bands
out
are
of
always
this.
looking for them, too.
Yeah, and drummers.
Maybe they should stop treating us like shit.
Yeah, bassists and drummers. They're like,
The drummer is usually in 3 different projects. Our drummer actually isn't, which is very, very surprising.
yeah, that's the same with Arcanaut. Arcanaut recently came back.
Really?
And, they had their.
Did they break up?
They broke up a little bit. They kind of remade their band as Cytera. Like, it was like another band called Cytera. And then they
You
went.
got the Cytera sticker.
Yeah, there's a sticker on my board over there.
I don't know if I've heard of Cytera either.
It's they were pretty short-lived. They eventually got the singer from Arcanaut back into the band and just went back to Arcanaut because they were having name issues with Cytera anyways. So they couldn't continue with the name Cytera, so they just went back to Arcanaut.
Was there like another band called Cytera?
Yeah, with one R. And they asked him, they literally reached
Why
out.
does that matter? Like, why would that matter to the other one?
It was like, it was metal, not the same type of metal, but they literally reached out and said, like, hey, can we use this? And I think Dan told the story in my last episode, but he said, can we use this? And the guy said, like, no, you can't. I'm planning on reusing this name and getting back into music and blah blah blah. The last thing he posted was like 2017.
Oh,
or
it
something
wasn't
like
even.
that. Yeah, so it's like,
active.
really?
Jeez.
You're just holding on to the name because maybe you might pick up music someday. Like, whatever. I guess he had claim.
I
so
mean,
was
I
like,
get it. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to give up my podcast name. Like, I paid for the domain as well, so I
Yeah.
kind of get it.
That kind of happened to me too when I started this podcast. Or it was another one. When I first started, I was with my buddy Kevin. We made a podcast, and we had a name called Not My Podcast. And I was
That's
like,
a funny
dude,
name.
that's gonna be great. Like, we'll name it that, and we'll just fuck around, and we're gonna talk about like politics.
Just have a guest, and you're like, "What's the podcast called?" Not My Podcast. And you look at your co-host.
Yeah. We were just gonna talk about like news stories and politics and like bullshit and like just joke about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we looked up and it was already a podcast, and we looked at it and it was just like literally the gayest podcast you could imagine, like literally about like gay, about being gay, and it's like, oh my god, dude. Like, and I talked to him, and they had one episode, and it was from like 2 years ago, and I asked him like, hey, like, can I take this name? Are you guys going to use this? Like, if I use this name, is there going to be problems? Pretty much. And the guy's like, yeah, I'll give you the name for 1% of any of your profits. I was just like, wow, that's a funny joke if you think I'm going to be making money off of this
what
shit.
profit?
Like, if this is a joke, that was pretty funny. Like,
Tangible products, by the way. Tangible products.
Yeah, like, if you're serious, then I'll pick a new name. And he never responded, so we went with the Kevin and Spencer Show. It's pretty
That's not what it's
straightforward.
called now, is it?
No.
It's called something else.
We did like 5 episodes.
And then
of
you
the
started
Kevin
a
and
new
Spencer
one?
Show. I started this one.
Was it like a rebrand or just like...
Kind of a rebrand, because we couldn't keep content going. We're not like journalists, so we couldn't figure out like geopolitical topics to make fun of all the time. Like, we weren't that into it. We were just kind of trying to like, talk shit. And so I started trying to invite like my friends who were in bands and stuff.
Yeah.
So I scheduled out a bunch of musicians, and I was like, hey man, like, let's just talk about music and shit. We can talk shit about politics in between and stuff. And right before the first episode, he was just like, hey man, I can't do this. Like, I didn't want to talk about music and stuff. I wanted it to be like, political comedy kind of stuff. And I was like, okay,
that's fair.
I'll just do it on my own then. And I just renamed it and started this.
My podcast was called Your Thoughts Podcast, and it started out just audio. It evolved into 1 camera, then 2 cameras, then 3 cameras. And the whole premise was conversational style podcast, and it offloaded the process of trying to come up with a topic by having the guest come up with the topic.
Oh, geez.
So Your Thoughts Podcast. Whatever you want to talk about, we're going to talk about.
That's a lot of pressure.
I had my guitarist as the co-host.
Oh, yeah.
So, and he was like the comedic relief. He's ridiculous. He's definitely like comedian spirit. Like, he'll just say off the wall shit.
Like Theo Vaughn.
Kind of just to see how you're going to respond. But also, he'll incorrectly say things all the time, which is hilarious because I know what he's trying to say, and I know it's incorrect, and he doesn't realize. So that's always been funny to me.
Have you seen Trailer Park Boys?
Yes.
Like the Ricky-isms? Or Ricky just says shit wrong all the time?
Kind of like that. Less stupid, though.
Yeah. Less stupid.
Less stupid.
Yeah, I hope so.
What we would do is conversational style podcast. We would have people come on, and there were quite a few political episodes. There was also a series that emerged called Religion with Ryan, which was with a buddy from high school, and he became a pretty prominent member of the show. So he was on probably the most out of anybody. We did like 3 different Religion with Ryan episodes, and we went through primarily Mormonism, because he read the Book of Mormon. His wife was formerly Mormon.
Nice.
And he would kind of debate, but just like conversationally debate missionaries.
Oh, geez. That's pretty interesting.
And like point out loopholes.
Yeah.
Because missionaries are usually kids. who are going on mission, and like they're talking to people trying to figure out life and stuff. So like it's kind of easy to point it out. So we went through Mormonism, Catholicism, Christianity. We touched on Hinduism, I think, Buddhism, Satanism.
Would you just talk about like the history and like what it is?
Yeah, the elements, like parameters of like different sects of religion.
Like factual.
I had a Christian on, and he's an atheist, so I had him on and a Christian, and we just talked about stuff and like tried to meet in the middle. Kind of like those Jubilee videos. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
That's where like there's this show called Middle Ground from Jubilee where like they have a bunch of different people and they have a conversation. Try to like meet in the middle. Kind of like that same premise, but the show was more in line with like Joe Rogan podcast where it's just like whatever the fuck we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And we had somebody on for Red for Ed, which was the school teacher political movement that was happening a few years back. We did a presidential candidate. I don't know how serious that candidate was, but I fact-checked a lot of the episodes, and prior to doing that, I checked the I don't remember exactly what it is, but you have to submit some documentation to register as a candidate for a presidential candidacy. Yeah. So she did. She actually did.
Oh, geez.
So I actually had a presidential candidate on.
Who was it? Can you say her name?
Sherry something, I think.
Sherry something.
I don't know. It wasn't.
She didn't get very far.
No name recognition.
She didn't have millions and millions of dollars, so.
She didn't have, no. She was an author, though. She had a book.
Oh, well. If you have a book.
Yeah.
Did it sell? Like
I didn't buy it. I don't know. I never read it.
If it didn't sell, it doesn't count. Like
I think it was about like being president or something. I don't know.
Well, she probably didn't know a lot about that.
That episode was crazy. We touched on a lot of important topics, but it was just like, who's crazy enough to run for president? This person. Let's talk to her.
Yeah. I wonder how many presidential candidates are in Arizona. Do you think there's any today? Or
I genuinely don't know. Like,
have they just thrown in their hats like, nope, Trump's got it?
I don't know how many people do it and just don't get any name recognition or like any percentage of like the eyes on you. Like, like for the Democratic Party, I know there's 2 other candidates, but I don't know how many other, like, other than Biden, Marianne Williamson, and I think Robert Kennedy Jr. that are currently running. I don't know who else is signed up that just, like, nobody's gonna mention.
There's others.
I'm sure.
There's others, like, I don't know their names, though. You know, like, I've heard, I listened to Breaking Points. So
that's my favorite political podcast.
Yeah, like I like Breaking Points, and I try to catch all their stuff, but sometimes they get so into the like politics of like the elections.
Oh, the election.
That just, dude, I just
it's
can't.
important
like,
though. That defines the direction of the country.
It's important
every 4 years.
Like these 2 hosts like nerd out on it, and it's like,
well, I mean that like that's
they get into details that are just over my head. And I'm like, oh man, like you can tell when they get too far, and it's like, man, I'm just like a casual listener. Like I like the summaries of like, oh, this person's got this person, or like this person's like coming up in the race, and like this is why. But it's like, then
they get through like the mindset of the voters, like perspectives that they may have based on like geographical location, like Iowa, the like stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the social aspect, how they like talk about like, oh, this is why they're not polling well here and stuff like that. But then they get into like their political strategies as far as like they need to seal these states first because they're like blah blah blah, and then they get into like all the percentages of like, you know, like historical voting patterns of this region and this state and why it's important. It's like, holy cow, like I'm just driving to work. Like, like I like to hear like how the polling is doing, but like there's certain details that are just like way too specific. It's like, geez.
That's why I like that show. They go deep.
I like the stories about like the crises that are happening.
Yeah.
That like the mainstream media won't touch.
Like Uvalde, they really went deep on that one.
Yeah, like it's crazy how little coverage it's gotten, like everywhere else. It's insane. And like things like the whole like airline crisis. They go over the airline crisis in huge detail, and it's like, fuck, I love that. Like I want to hear why things are fucked up. You know, like that's what I love that show for.
Yeah,
like,
I love how they have the like left right perspectives too. Like
and neither of them are married to their political beliefs either. Like neither of them are
they're willing to be wrong.
Sometimes they're like, well, you got a point there. I can't really can't.
I love that Sagar is so willing to prove like that he is willing to be wrong, that he'll share the things that he got wrong as like a whole like montage.
Oh yeah.
Like
he'll correct himself on his own show. Like, that's unique.
It's
unique. Like nobody else does that. Or if they do, they're not as big. Like they're like the people that have millions of viewers and still correct themselves.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. That's respectful. You know?
I like that they brought in the new hosts as well, Ryan and
Emily.
Emily. Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool. I like them.
Ryan is actually he's worked as a White House correspondent, and also he's done stuff with The Intercept, which is another news organization that I was following well before I've heard about Rising with Crystal and Sagar.
Yeah.
So he's an interesting person. And then they have like Glenn Greenwald on. I wish they would have Kyle Kalinske on a little bit more.
Yeah, he comes in for guest segments sometimes. They have him on like a phone call.
Yeah.
But they usually do like right near the election season, because that guy knows elections. Like he's a fucking scientist when it comes to those elections. Like when you hear Kyle Kalinske talk about the elections, you're like, fuck, man, this guy is like, he lives this shit.
For the last election, he was on Rogan's podcast, and some of the things that he said, like as everything was happening in real time, some of the things that he said that he called
Trump one. The 2016 one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched
like,
that.
I think it was like Pennsylvania. Like
they recorded it live, like during the. They called it the End of the World podcast.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. It's like, well, here's the end of the world.
But my podcast wasn't only political. It was music, politics, religion. Trying to think of what else we talked about, because we we did an omelet off at one point.
What the fuck? An omelet off? That's what you called it?
Yeah.
That does not roll off the tongue.
An omelet off. So, for those of you who don't know me, like on social media, specifically Snapchat, for about a solid year, I would post every single day, just like a video of me making an omelet. just like a quick 5-second video of an omelet. And I would make an omelet every day. Even if I didn't post it, I would make an omelet every day. So I had some friends who were like, I bet I make a better omelet than you. And I was like, let's do it. Let's have a competition. And one of them actually did want to do it. So I got 3 people to do commentating. I had 3 people who were doing commentating, and then my friend and I made the omelet. Like we had an overhead camera set up on the stove, and then a camera set on the three judges that were commentating, and then a camera that was like a wide view of everything. We lost that footage, unfortunately, but we had everything else. And we had both of us make their omelets, and then had everyone test it and commentate on how it tasted. And then we had a full table session of us talking about our processes.
Oh my God.
It's like a cooking show.
Cooking an omelet. Yeah. That's pretty funny, dude.
It was fun. It was really fun. I had a camera op for that one.
You got to get honestly, you could just use OBS and just switch cameras. Like, do it. Switch cameras live.
But I can't do that
you
if
know?
I'm cooking.
No, I mean, yeah, obviously, if you're one of the
You have
contestants,
like a controller
you
up
gotta
on
have
the
somebody
counter.
switching the cameras. But like, have somebody with a microphone, so they'll be like fucking Alton Brown or whatever, and like chopped. I mean, like,
I was trying to go all out with the show, so it became too big. Like I needed volunteers, like
Yeah.
people who are willing to give me their time to make a solid product.
Yeah, that's the wall, right?
Yeah.
Is like getting people to help you
'Cause
before you can pay them.
I want to pay you. I really want to
I
pay
would
you.
love to.
But I can't pay you. So if you do this, we will
Yeah.
make a product and potentially make money along the way.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the video on this project right now.
I was paying the camera op $150, and it became like having somebody there managing all three cameras, so I didn't have to do that and just manage sound alleviated a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Because I was organizing it, coordinating with the guest, running sound, and doing the cameras. And the cameras, they were not these cameras. They're cameras where they shut off at 30 minutes, so you have to reset it.
Why?
They're DSLRs. They're not film cameras.
Oh, that's pretty lame.
You work with what you got. So having a camera op to just make sure the cameras are running, and
Yeah,
who was
sure.
also like a film major, so she knew what she was doing, helped. But
Yeah.
I paid her $150 per episode, and I paid the editor $200 per episode.
And
The
how many-
editor,
how many episodes of Omelet Off did you do?
oh, that was just a one-off. Every single episode was different. Every single one was different. Like Your Thoughts podcast didn't have a premise other than it being your thoughts. So,
so that
every
was just
episode could be
part of the episodes.
Yeah.
How many cooking episodes did you do then?
just one.
You should have done more. You should have done like a Philly cheesesteak one.
That was one of the last ones I did.
Oh yeah.
I think there was I'm still sitting on like 3 that I couldn't do it anymore.
You're sitting on the footage and you just haven't put it together?
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem when you have like multiple files and you're trying to stitch them together.
Multiple files,
Takes a
too
lot
many
of fucking work,
projects.
man.
I'm doing solo music, I'm doing the band, I'm doing music lessons, DJing.
You're doing solo music?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's just-
I played at Groundworks where my band is playing tonight. I played there earlier this month.
Just like, do you have a group that plays with you, or do you just play by yourself on stage?
Just by myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for now it's solo acoustic stuff. I also produce music, so I've got a full-length album out. Full-length album, 1 EP, and 2 standalone singles
Okay.
of songs that I produced, recorded, like self-recorded, produced, all the instruments and everything. I'm sitting on another album, and then I'm actually releasing an album June 1st, so... Is that tomorrow? Or 2 days from now?
2 days.
What day is it today?
It is the 28th.
28th. So about
3 days.
there's 31 days. So
4 days.
yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Someday. I don't know.
That one is that was produced with my buddy Mario, who was a student at Phoenix College.
Mario? I know a Mario.
A Mario?
Yeah. There's not a lot of Marios here in Arizona.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think so. I mean,
I think that's an extremely common name. Mario.
I'll
I
take it
think
back. You're right.
Rodriguez Garcia or Garcia Rodriguez. I don't know which order. But
It's not the one I know.
there's probably a lot.
I meant literally working like in music and like, in the like music scene.
He also
but-
worked sound at Lost Leaf.
Okay. I haven't heard of Lost Leaf. I'll have to look that up.
It's like it's kind of a house, but it's not really a house. House venue off of Roosevelt Row, 7th and Roosevelt, I think, or not
Huh.
7th.
Dude, I've been around there. Like I don't know why I haven't heard of that.
It's right across the street from Bud's Glass Joint and Fuzzy Tacos. I think Fuzzy Tacos.
I've seen Fuzzy Tacos.
Right down that street.
Huh. Okay. Well, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah,
But-
it's tiny.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you don't need a lot of space, really.
I mean, for a 5-piece band, you do, but for my solo stuff, no. That's perfect.
Yeah, for a 5-piece band. Yeah, tell me about it. That Red Velvet Lounge was a fucking nightmare, dude.
Yeah. That sounds like Lost Leaf. Also, they've got a red light, so like it really sounds like Lost Leaf. It's just super like saturated red light.
Red light. Like, that's all they have?
That's the stage light. Just red.
That'd go well for Arcanaut. It's pretty much the lighting they use anyways.
It looks kind of cool, but there's no change to it, so it's just red the whole time.
Honestly, that would work. That would work for the band. I had the same kind of lighting in at the house show. I just had like these 4 little like Bluetooth controlled LEDs.
Yeah.
Actually, they were the singers. They're Stevens, and we set those up, and it was just we just set them to red, done, and just play, and it was fucking badass.
They had other colors.
You could change the colors on them, yeah, but
Did
it
you
was
have to
like
like
with a phone app.
manually do it?
No, it was a phone app, but it was like they just left it on red for like the whole set list.
Could you set it to like pulsate? Or, like change?
I don't know if they were that complicated. I think they were like really simple like controllers. They
What
were
I've
just
watched,
set the color and
what I've watched my
brightness.
buddy Leo from Ianth and
Yeah.
And Dogpile. What I've watched him do at Oasis House is they've got lights, but they have to manually change it. So he would manually change it throughout the set while he's running sound.
with a remote.
Yeah,
Yeah, the IR remotes.
yeah.
Those cheap ass little Chinese.
We'd have to like
remotes are like
keep clicking it to switch the lighting.
Oh god. Yeah.
It would be dope, but that's a lot of work.
Not worth it. Not worth it. Just run sound. Because if something goes wrong with sound and you're over there clicking a light, I'm gonna be pissed.
I mean, like once you dial in the levels, you just like
Hopefully,
set it.
hopefully nothing goes wrong.
If you're
Like-
good enough to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I ran live sound for the local theater union here. So I was like Mesa Arts Center and like Orpheum for a while.
Oh, really?
And
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, I was doing a whole bunch of shows like the Phoenix Symphony. Like I was at the ASU, like the Gamage Theater, and just doing all sorts of different shows, like fucking like symphony shows, like choir to
How many mics do they have for a symphony show?
a lot, dude.
Yeah, I can
lot.
imagine.
Every like section has its own mic. You know, every like 2 or 3 people
They
have
mic
a
it
mic.
by section or like
By
instruments?
section. Well, it's by section. So you go like, you know, you'd have like a couple mics for like the brass section, and then like the strings, each row would have a couple mics. So you got like 6 inputs there, and then the cellos would have like their own mic.
So would
because
that
they're lower,
be
like whatever.
set and forget, or is that like actively mixing while?
No, not during the show. It's set and forget, but the sound check is really important on that one.
Yeah.
So you have to have all those inputs working perfectly. Like it is a set and forget kind of thing, but you have to be there ready because sometimes
Things will go wrong.
things will go wrong. People change places, they'll move, they'll bring in other instruments. You know,
Somebody's louder
it's
than
usually,
the other,
yeah,
like louder than they were in soundcheck.
or you'll have to like, you know, somebody will be on the side and they'll have to like run a microphone out to somebody, or you know, a guitar comes on stage, you have to go help them plug in their guitar or whatever, like make sure they have everything's working like in the middle of the show. I've had to do that a few times, but it's
When I
you know.
DJ, I run sound kind of like on a soundboard like that. There's no faders. It's just the mids, highs, lows. I think there's
yeah, you don't need faders. I mean, honestly, this is like overkill for what I'm doing. This is like a 12 channel board for like 2 mics.
yeah. I mean, you don't need much for dialogue, but when you're doing vocals, having
Yeah.
the ability to adjust like the mids, highs, lows. I mean, I guess for dialogue too, you would want that.
Yeah, I have the bass. I have the lows bit boosted a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I don't do much with the EQ on this. I kind of mess with it in post for EQing, but yeah, this could run like a whole band.
Yeah.
This board, this could run like a whole band, and it would sound okay.
Well, without miking the drums, I guess, right?
The drums would have to be mixed like together, but yeah, Like you'd have to have
more
a
channels.
separate mixer pretty much for the drums. But if you could get like a little, honestly, I could do it with like 6 channels. I've done it with 3. It was kind of like on the spot, like what the fuck you didn't tell
snare and an overhead or something.
Yeah, like you didn't tell us you needed the drum kit mic'd. Like middle of the show, like go get the fucking mics, get the mixer, go. Like,
yeah, that's
it's like, what?
Was there other bands?
Well, no, it was like a band. It was like a kid, like a youth kind of orchestra / choir, and they had a whole band and like 1,000 people that would switch out for different choirs. Like it was like the Mormon choir for this show. Like it was like the whole fucking deal. They had little kids to bigger kids to high schoolers to like straight up adults, like switching out on these bleachers. So
and they had like a regular drum set included in that?
Yes. They had a regular drum set, and what happened was they wanted more inputs for something. They're like, hey, we need to mic this up. And we're like, we're already miking up the whole drum kit. Like, you wanted the drum kit mic'd. He's like, yeah, but, you know, we need mics for these guys or whatever
from there.
Yeah. It's like the sound guy was pulling his hair out. Like, he's not much older than like me. He's probably like in his 30s or whatever, but he's like, oh my fucking God, like, are you seriously doing this to me right now? Because all the inputs were filled. We had every single input on the board filled, like fucking 48 channels. Like, it was insane, dude. We're like, all right, we got to break down the drum kit. We got to like break down and like mix the drum kit into 3 mics. Like, can you do that? And he looked at me and I'm like,
you can.
Like, run me through a summary real quick. What should I do? Like,
and like you lose a bit of clarity, but it'll work.
It worked, man, because there's like 400 people at a time singing, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you don't need well,
there was a lot going on. It was okay. It
scoop
worked.
The mids.
Yeah. It worked. Like we got it set up and it worked, but it was like, holy fucking shit, man. Like,
yeah.
You can mic a drum kit for a live show pretty, like, and if it's a house show, you don't have to mic it at all.
No.
You just let them hit the drums.
Yeah. And if it's a small venue too, you don't really need to.
Yeah, not really. It depends on the music. With Arcanaut, it's a little rough.
Without it, or
because if you it's hard to balance it, because like if you have a small room and you don't mic the drums, then it's just like guitars and drums. That's all you hear. Everything else is drowned out.
Yeah.
But then like a bigger venue, like you're micing up the drums and like it's hard to mix the guitars in, like, because they're just fucking loud right off the bat. It's just like, it's kind of weird. Like, it's hard to describe, but Arcanaut's just trying to mix like the loudest of sounds together all at once. It's like there is no really balance. It's weird. But yeah, the house show, it's kind of strange trying to get the drums to mix with everything else. I don't know if you've had to deal with that, if you do the sound at the house shows or not.
No,
not really.
The only time I've really had to deal with that was when we were doing demos for some of our songs. So when we were self-recording, we bought like the whole like Shure pack of mics to mic the drums, and then we were using a AKG vocal microphone, like a cardioid kind of mic, as a room mic. So we were using that. We had 2 overheads. We had the kick, snare, 2 toms, and that worked. At this point, we don't do that anymore. It's easier to just have the drummer program what he's going to do for the demo, and then we'll go in and live record it.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about that anymore, but it's useful to know.
Yeah, it's honestly like it's not really worth it to like mic up a drum kit for recording anymore. It's easier to just like get the drums on the recording however the hell you can, because like the live recording of drums, I guess I'm just speaking for metal, but like heavier metal, like live recording for drums is not much different than just doing like MIDI drums with live sounds. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's the human element that you lose. Well, like I guess you can
You
still do
can fabricate that and get it real damn close nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, you can tweak the timing to like, you know, 1,000th of a second off here, percentage there, whatever. And
there's also the aspect of like if you can't perform it live, then
yeah.
like
What I'm saying is getting the clearest sound in the room. If playing it live is not a question, like when it came to Arcanaut, I'll just use him as an example because I was there. Like Attila can play all those songs live, and they're fucking fast and complicated. He's just a beast, impressive and super humble. He's always like, "Are you serious? I played it well. Like, thanks, man. Oh my god, thank you." Like, dude, you're insane. Like, you're so good. But him playing live in a room, like in a studio, he like gets bored playing the same song over and over, trying to get that shit right. But it's like you're trying to get the mics to be perfect, and you have to have the right studio. We were doing it in like a bedroom, so it was like it's hard to get the right sound in the first place. You know, you're sitting there for hours trying to record it and doing all this stuff, and then Dan gets the live samples. Our guitarist Dan, he takes the live samples that the engineer got. He puts them into MIDI. Dude, you can barely tell the difference. Like, it's just so close, especially if you like put the variation on like the intensity of the hit versus like the timing, and like if you put little variations on there by like 1%,
like some
dude, it
like
sounds
humanistic
it
elements.
sounds so real. It's just like, dude, like do you need to record the drums for the album? Like, do you have to be the one to hit the drums for this, for the recording? It's like if you're on stage every single night, like, you know, like, are you going to be sentimental about it, or you want to get the music out there? Like,
yeah.
Eventually our drummer Attila, he just decided, like, you know what, fuck it, guys, just do a MIDI. Like, I don't want to fuck around in the studio anymore. Like, I just want to play. Like, that's not playing the drums. That is making a recording of drums. Like, there's a different element there. Playing on stage, you're having fun. You're just going fucking crazy, making the song sound however the fuck it sounds in your head at that moment. And it's like, in the studio, there's a different pressure on it. You know?
Yeah, there is.
You're just like,
there definitely is.
Got to do it right.
You got to do it right. Especially
like,
with
he
the
doesn't
drums.
like that.
There's so much to think about with the drums.
Yeah. He already beats
don't wanna
himself
do
up
that.
enough. Attila beats himself up enough just playing after a live show. You're like, dude, that was fucking awesome. And he's like, I suck. And you're like, no, dude. The crowd loved it. Everyone was fucking cheering. And like, he's like, I messed up.
You always mess up, though.
Motherfucker.
There's no way you're not going to mess up.
Yeah, just
It's
give him
just gonna
some weed.
happen.
He's fine.
Just
Give him a beer and a joint. He's good.
after teaching music lessons and performing for so long, it's just like you can't be so hard on yourself for messing up. It's gonna happen. Like 100%, it's gonna happen.
There's a fine line there between like
being self-defeatist mentality or like
being
I
self-critical.
accomplished this and I can do better.
Yeah. Like being self-critical is like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You know, like either you're going to cut yourself down over and over, or you're going to like fucking sharpen your edge and make
whittle
it better.
yourself into nothing because you suck.
Yeah. Like fucking just sharpening the pencil until it's down to the eraser. But I don't know.
I mean, that's why you drill. That's why you practice. That's why you try to achieve perfection. But like, you can't mitigate things like your finger slipping mid slide or something while you're live performing, trying to move around on stage and sweating. Like, you can practice for stuff like that, but stuff is gonna happen.
What's cool about the live shows is that there's more going on than that note.
Yeah.
You know, in the studio, that note that
but you as the
slipped up
musician,
on, like,
a lot of the time it's like, I messed up here. I messed up here. I messed up here. I messed up
you're in
here.
the zone.
I don't even notice anybody else's messes messes up. Mess. Oh my god. Mess ups. I don't notice anybody else's mess ups. I notice that I messed up here and here and here, and I can do better.
Yeah.
There's this thing I've noticed a lot of musicians, even like myself and my bandmates, like over time, they do this thing where once they're done with their set, it's immediate, like self-defeatist, like, oh wow, you did great. And they're like, nah,
Yeah.
no, I didn't.
It's
I
so
messed
common.
up.
Like a lot of people do that.
Don't admit that. Seriously,
Just shut
don't.
the fuck up.
If you don't say anything, 90% of the crowd, the people who are not musicians, most likely did not notice.
Yeah. But even if you do say stuff like that, like they're not gonna know what you're talking about.
No, they won't.
They're just gonna be like, I didn't hear it.
And if they did, now you just pointed it out. So now, like, that's a sticking point. They remember now.
Right.
You brought it back.
Yeah, dude. I see that a lot. Like people like get down on themselves because of a show. It's like, but everyone in the crowd was like, they were loving it. So it's like, what are you like? You should be critiquing yourself based on how the crowd reacts more than how you're actually playing on stage.
They could have not clapped. They could have not cheered.
They could have not clapped. They just stare at you. A crowd full of people that just stares. Oh my god.
I've played enough. There's a line. You're either performing to a crowd or you're practicing.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And there's definitely there's been plenty of events with people where it's practice. I'm not performing anymore because they don't care.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, like I've seen that happen probably too many times because of just the band that Arcana is. Like they're so loud that like they'll get put in the wrong bill and then they'll go on, and they were never like, or not usually, they were a headliner a few times, but they weren't like always the headliner. They're usually like, you know, third or fourth to last. And they'll play so loud and so fucking heavy. People think the show's picking up and getting heavier and like, yeah, now the next band comes on and they're going to be like fucking high energy. And it's like the music goes back to like the genre it was. And everyone's just quiet. Like they're waiting for the heavy part to come. And it's like, like that happened like a handful of times. And it's just like, fuck. Like we kind of fucked up the show. Brought the energy up too fast.
It's good for them.
It's like, yeah, it's great for Arcanaut. Everybody remembered Arcanaut.
Yeah.
Everybody else afterward, like the other bands afterwards are just like, you can tell they're like kind of annoyed.
Sometimes I wonder if the promoters that put on the shows actually listen to the bands that they're trying to book.
It seems like they don't sometimes. It seems like they just are trying to fill the spots. And it's like, oh, you're metal? Okay. Come on, go play metal. It's like, you're sure? Like,
I know part of it is also band scheduling. Like for the show tonight, we had to play early. Like to get on the bill, we had to negotiate us to play early because it's in Tucson. So some of us want to get back tonight so that they can work tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
But like the dynamic of the show itself, all the bands are kind of similar in style. It's like punk, emo, indie-ish kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it works. When we played in Amarillo, Texas, we were the outlier because we have like heavy elements, but my band is indie punk.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like genre fluid, so it's like indie punk with pop punk and a little bit of metal and emo. The next band was like 80s-ish progressive metal kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The next band after that was death metal. So like it progressively
So
got
random.
heavier.
Yeah.
But it was such a weird show.
Yeah. Well, if it progressively gets heavier, that's
like it
that's
worked.
Okay.
It worked
that's
like
okay.
that.
Yeah. If it goes the other way around, you start with death metal,
then
like,
nobody's gonna be there for the last band.
Good luck coming back.
They're gonna be so bored.
Yeah, it's
all this adrenaline.
Oof. Yeah, it gets pretty interesting sometimes. We did that to there's this local band. They do it's kind of like thrash metal, like the old school like 80s thrash metal, like clean vocals and kind of like Iron Maiden-ish kind of
Oh,
stuff.
really?
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
called Sectas, and like they're not bad.
Haven't
Those
heard
dudes
of
are pretty
them.
good. But man, if you put Argonaut before Sectas, it just doesn't do Sectas any favors. But
So Argonaut is death metal.
oh yeah, it's like death metal. It's kind of like
They should play with like
they played with Condemned Till Dawn. And
Condemned Till
They
Dawn,
played with Amaya.
Maya,
Maya
I
boys.
Pariah.
I Pariah is a little more like core-ish.
Yeah,
kinda,
but like it would work better.
sort of. Argonaut's fast, like fast tempo, not rhythm based. Like it might fit the
What about
energy,
like Life
but like
and Limb,
it sounds totally different. It's more like Pantera,
Pantera,
and more like Pantera or Lamb of God, where
like
it's
more
more
like
melodic.
groove.
Yeah, like melodic, like groove, but like fast as fuck, like loud. It's hard to describe, man. Like I don't know. I hope they get some good recordings out soon, because like the recordings they have out now, they're kind of like demos
Yeah,
where they did a lot of it themselves. Like it's a lot of self-produced, and they sent off stems or, I don't know, it's
Yeah,
kind of
stems.
different methods and stuff for the recordings they have out. But once they get some professional stuff in, if they can capture their loudness onto a recording, it's so hard to do. But like, if they could figure that out, like, goddamn, like I would listen to them every day. But they got to figure out how to do the recording. It's hard.
I don't know who's still around that plays heavy stuff. I was when I was growing up in the music scene, it was more core. So
Yeah.
I don't know the bleed over between like death metal and like hardcore, post-hardcore, metalcore kind of
I
stuff.
see it more as like there's rhythm based, and then there's like melodic based, like melody based, So it's like
So would core be more rhythm?
yeah, it's more rhythm where it's like dun 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 dun, where it's like does like the chuggy kind of
Yeah.
breakdowns and stuff, and like
I'm
and then
less
you
a
got
fan
like
of that.
more melodic stuff where it's like Lamb of God, where it's like you get the guitar riffs
Yeah.
and the solos,
Or
and like,
Gojira or
yeah,
like,
Gojira. That's like a heavy influence for
Mastodon.
them. Mastodon. That's another heavy influence for them. Like
Yeah.
they love all those bands.
that stuff.
So they're
I
super
like that stuff
melodic,
better.
guitar heavy, like guitar melody heavy. So
I'm seeing Trivium in a couple weeks.
oh yeah,
I'm fucking stoked for
Trivium
that.
has some awesome guitars, man. Like
That I looked at the tickets twice. I was like, should I buy this? Nah. Second time I was like, this is the second time I'm looking at. I think I need to do it.
tickets are really stupid nowadays, man.
Yeah.
They used to be okay, but ever since there's been a monopoly, like with the whole Ticketmaster thing,
Yeah.
you can't get away from how expensive
Ticketmaster is fucking over the fans and the artists.
they are. And nobody's doing anything about it.
I don't know.
Taylor
like,
Swift tried to do something about it. I don't know how that's going, but they've probably made it go as slow as they possibly can.
It's been an issue since the 90s. There
Yeah.
was, I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it was like Stone Temple Pilots or if it was like Alice in Chains or somebody from that era of music, like the grunge era, testified at Congress, like in front of Congress, about Ticketmaster.
So like from Blink 182,
No.
maybe? No.
No.
I know they had problems with them too. But
I'm surprised nothing came of the Taylor Swift. Well, I think like there
something
was a
maybe
lot
did.
of there was a lot of attention for it.
Yeah, there was a lot of attention, but if anything happened, they probably tried to sweep it under the rug as fast as possible. Or it's still gummed up in the works at court.
Yeah, I
like they're
don't know.
trying to slow it down or whatever. Like I know that's possible.
But if you ever want to go to any kind of concert that is put on outside of like the local sphere of wherever you live, Ticketmaster.
They get money.
Yeah.
They get money from it.
And
Every time it's
there's
at-
other stuff like I guess Live Nation is Ticketmaster, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yep,
they
all the same.
combined. So that's the same company, but there's like SeatGeek, but I don't know if that's even. I don't
That's
know
like
what that is.
sports, isn't it?
I mean, I bought the Trivium ticket through SeatGeek.
They probably get money from it.
Maybe
Ticketmaster probably gets a penny from that.
it was
They're probably
like
all in.
it was like
in
$70,
fucking-
and then the service fee was like $30. Like, what the fuck are you doing to
Yep.
have a $30 service fee? Your
They signed
website,
a deal with Ticketmaster.
their percentage of whatever you need to maintain your website, maybe like security, maybe I guess, but like how much of that is not baked into the ticket cost already? How much is the artist getting? How much is the venue getting? How much is security costing? How much is like waste management? All of that, like,
They don't have to disclose any of that to you.
nope, and they won't. All I know is we're getting fucked.
Not important. Okay, just
and you can't raise
pay the
prices
money.
on local shows because people won't go to them.
Yeah.
So there's no like middle ground. You're either paying $100
No.
or $10.
Yep. There's no in between. Sometimes there's an in between, and it's usually a metal
$25.
band. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
usually a metal band. The metal shows are the in between, dude. Because you'll get like a big ass band on tour, like Black Dahlia or something, go on tour.
Oh
and
yeah,
then,
like
and then
at
those
the
tickets will be
Nile.
like $30.
Yeah.
They'll be like in the middle, because the Nile knows they know they can charge that much. Like,
yeah,
they're like,
and
oh, Black Dahlia's coming through town, like.
the
Let's
Nile's
jack those prices up.
but they're independent in that regard. Like,
Oh yeah, they can. It's their choice.
they're just paying for overhead. They're paying the bands and like security and their
Yeah.
staff.
They don't.
That's all baked
They
in.
hire their own promoters. I'm sure they have their own promoters they work with, even if they're a third party. Like they still are.
Same with
dedicated,
Marquee.
Like
But even then, I think a lot of the artists book through Ticketmaster, Live Nation.
you can. I'm sure it's probably a package they offer.
Yeah.
Like you wanna pay us a little bit of money, we'll sell your tickets. Like, that's how it goes.
It might help, I
So.
guess. I don't know.
I wonder how the Van Buren does it.
I don't know actually.
I bet they
I
use
think they-
fucking Live Nation, huh?
I think they do their own thing.
Is that a city venue?
I don't know. They've got really good sound though.
Yeah, they do. I think the last time I saw Black Dahlia was at the Van Buren. It was fucking dope.
Last show I saw was Mayday Parade, which was awesome. Before that, I saw Front Bottoms and Playboy Man Baby.
Playboy Man Baby.
That's one of my favorite local bands.
It's
I
a local
recently,
band?
yeah, I saw them. I saw them at the Van Buren for their 10-year. I saw them at Crescent for New Year's, this past New Year's.
Yeah.
And then when I was in Portland, like a couple weeks ago, I saw them. And that was awesome because seeing them like in Arizona is one thing because they're from here. Seeing them in a different state, headlining, and like almost selling out is amazing. That's incredible. That's inspiring to me.
Do you know him?
I know of Robbie. I don't personally know him. He's the vocalist. I know he does like karaoke DJ stuff locally,
But he like lives around here?
and he does like events and stuff. He's in the Phoenix music scene.
Hmm.
He put on the Space Cadet Fest at Trunk Space, I think last weekend.
I haven't heard of that.
Him with Playboy Man Baby. I don't know like how much everyone else is involved, and I don't know any of their names.
Well, I'll have to try to hit him up, see if he's interested in coming on, man. Get him as a guest.
My buddy Jacob Santoro, who does Basement Dweller podcasts, not sure if you've heard of them.
I have. I see their ads on Facebook and stuff.
He's been trying to get Robbie for a while.
Oh, really? Was
I've
he
been-
just get
I've-
ignored or what? Like, what's the deal?
He's probably just really busy.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Can't sit down for a couple hours and have a conversation?
Maybe. I don't know.
Come on.
He might not be the kind of person to do that.
That's
He's
okay.
also got like really the Playboy Man Baby has like recognizable social media, like TikTok videos and Instagram videos.
Come on, take a risk. Take a risk. Go out there.
I don't know.
Say some dumb shit.
Come on, Robbie, where you at?
Yeah, where you at, man? We're calling you out. Nah, maybe
Your podcast is Beyond Sound?
Things Beyond Sound.
Things
Yeah.
Beyond Sound.
Yep.
Yo, Robbie, go on Basement Dweller and Things Beyond Sound.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Who runs Basement Dweller?
Jacob Santoro, he's my
Jacob
buddy.
Santor. Yeah, I gotta hit him up too.
I
I
had
was-
him on my podcast twice, and the first time was a shit show. The power went out in my house, and we were running everything like without power, but
What?
the lights went
The
out,
lights went out.
and it was storming outside.
Oh god.
So like there was like banging on the window, and we were all just like, is this fucking window gonna break? Like mid podcast.
Mm.
It was one camera. It was dark. Like it was red because it was so dark.
It's like we pissed God off.
Second one was way better, and after that he decided to start his own show. So I've been on his about 3 times.
Nice.
Last time was with my vocalist.
Cool. How long has he been doing his show?
Maybe 2 years.
About 2 years. Shit, it's not much older than mine. Mine's probably like a year and like 4 or 5 months or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Where you're at with your marketing and your setup, I think you're on the cusp of like really like getting it set.
I'm trying, man. Every
It seems
episode
like
is different.
Yeah.
It's been 28 different setups.
I know the grind, man.
So, I mean, I just got video started and it's been going pretty well with the video. So I just got to get better cameras.
Adding
so
the video element is game changing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I want to
It's
make those
like
highlights, but
audio is one thing, but a lot of people don't listen to audio podcasts. Having the video element, like that visual, seeing the person talking, like there's nuances to conversation that you don't notice with just dialogue. But
Yeah.
like me moving my hands, or like how you like micro express, or like there's just nuances that you
Yeah.
can't get with audio.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't do highlights with audio either. You know,
Like-
how are you going to do an audio highlight? Like it's
Yeah.
just going to be like,
It's like 5 minutes.
yeah,
of,
it's just going to be a clip of the logo, and nobody's going to watch a reel that's just a logo. They're going to go to the next reel. You know,
Yeah.
just flip through if there's no faces.
there's yeah.
So, like, that's
I mean,
what
a lot
really-
of people scroll through without audio, so
Yeah,
they'll just see the logo and they might listen for a couple seconds.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. If they don't see a name they recognize, I doubt they would like. You know, if it's just a random ad.
It's like
But
8 seconds is the average for like music. I don't know about videos, but like I think that's pretty common for videos too. People tune out after 8 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I want to like get talking and like have like a joke in those first couple seconds, like right away, and then like maybe break into a conversation. When I do these highlight reels, I'm going to try to like break out all the dead space and make it as condensed as possible, like the most amount of dialogue and the tiniest amount of video.
Yeah.
And like I don't care if it looks awkward getting chopped every couple seconds, but as long as I can get the audio in there and a human face saying the things,
Yeah.
like that's what's important.
For YouTube, there's also something with the algorithm where like if you do like some stupid expression like and then use that as the image,
The thumbnail.
yeah,
Yeah.
then that's more likely to be upranked because the algorithm recognizes face and weird face for some reason.
Yeah.
I
Is that
don't
like
know.
some Mr. Beast trick or something like that? Yeah, I noticed all of his videos. He's like,
Yeah,
do
it's
some
clickbaity,
stupid,
but
like-
it works.
Yeah, and there's always like money. There's always like cash in the thumbnail. Like or something like some stupid shit. Yeah, I don't want to go
Why?
too gimmicky with it. I just
Yeah.
have like I don't know if you see my
I mean,
thumbnails,
there's
but-
like you play the line as much as like you're willing to, because
Yeah,
it's definitely
I don't want to be Mr. Beast.
borderline cringe at some points.
I'll change my name to Mr. Sound.
Mr.
Yeah, great.
You think anybody's done that? I think somebody's done that.
What, change their name to
Somebody has probably done Mr. Sound.
Mr. Sound is probably taken.
Yeah.
That's too simple.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. I was surprised Things Beyond Sound was not taken though. That's one thing that like
Yeah, that is surprising.
I was trying. I think I had another name first. I totally forgot what it was because it was like the same day. I thought of a name, typed it in, wasn't there. Like it was taken. I was like, okay. And then I just started thinking like, if I'm talking about like with sound people, like the original premise was to talk with anyone in the audio industry, like sound engineers and DJs and anyone who does sound. And I was like, well, kind of too broad, like too broad of a subject. So I kind of like reined it back into just like the metal scene and just focusing on getting metalheads on the podcast. Like at least I'll gain an audience, you know?
Yeah.
There's going to be a bunch of metalheads listening to my show at the same time. And then maybe they'll share it with their friends and I can like sort of branch off into rap or DJs or,
yeah, expand out
you know,
into just
expand
music
out
in
after
general.
that, after I got a bass already. But I wanted a name that would be like speaking with sound guys and audio guys, but like everything besides just work.
Yeah.
So it was like things beyond the sound, just the music and like just the work that they're doing.
Do you
So-
do sound for work?
I did for a while. Like I said, I did a lot of live shows at the Orpheum and like Mesa Arts Center and stuff like that in Arizona, just for the local union. And The schedule was really like inconsistent. I wasn't getting consistent hours. It was just getting hard to pay my bills.
It was like gigs.
Yeah, and they were just really disorganized, and
It's hard. It's fucking
they
hard.
would text me and be like, "Hey, are you available for this date?" And I would look at the date, and it would be like tomorrow. Like, no,
No.
like what? Like I was been waiting all week for a fucking call, and you guys tell me it's tomorrow. Like you could have called me last week.
How do they?
You know, like
How do they organize the band?
I. That's what I mean. Like
They
it
had
was,
to have
it was
that
maddening,
planned.
dude. It was
like,
maddening.
You have
like,
to book the venue. You have to organize everything.
You know the
practice
show's
schedules.
there.
Like
it's on
especially
the fucking
with,
calendar.
with a symphony, that many people, like they're not just off the
any
cuff
show,
choosing
dude.
this date.
Any show, they're on the calendar months in advance.
Yeah,
and you can't secure the workers like a week in advance. Like somebody's fucking up. Like somebody's dropping the ball, and
That's
I was
crazy.
just tired of dealing with that. So
yeah,
I got a real job, 40 hours a week doing like. I was doing AV, or I'm doing it not right now, but it's AV install. Pretty much just installing TVs and projectors and like screens and speakers and shit like that. For like, I'm in the education department, so I go through schools and I'm putting up like TVs in classrooms and shit like that. But it's really boring.
sounds
Really easy.
Sounds easy enough.
But management sucks. I'm getting tired of it. So I'm going to try to go back to live sound. Hopefully I can find some solid enough gigs to like pay my rent.
Yeah.
But I'd rather work in live sound than installing equipment. I hate it.
I was working at State Farm for like 2 years, and I was fucking depressed.
What were you doing?
I was doing auto claims.
Claims?
Yeah.
That has to be weird.
It sucked. Every single call was an accident.
Oh,
and
yeah.
people were not happy. So just 10 hours of that every day.
Yeah.
It was draining.
I worked in collections at Discover Card.
That would
So
also suck.
I had to collect money from people.
People would just dodge you.
Yeah. For the first while, it was great because I was just leaving messages.
Yeah.
I was the guy who leaves messages on answering machines. And I'm really good at that because I can like talk to nobody and sound normal. You know, some people
Did they give you a script?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so you just leave
some people would be like, "Hi, this is blah 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 from Discover. Please call me back. We have an important like blah blah blah." Like it was just horrible voice. And I would just talk to people like, "Hey, this is Spencer. Like, please call me back. Like, we have something important. We got to talk to you." You know, just like normal. Like I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And I would get so many more callbacks because it sounded like I was a real fucking person. And they promoted me, and my job immediately went downhill because like I started talking to real people. Then I was like, I can't talk to real people. Like no, I'm calling people and telling them that their account is overdue and they owe me money, and now they're fucking pissed at me. It's like no, that's not the same. I'm really bad at this.
Nope.
Like, I need to get out. But yeah, that was
not
shitty
everybody
job.
was pissed. Some people were really nice, especially if they were not the at fault party. But
Yeah, sure.
people don't like to hear that they're going to have to pay their deductible. People don't like to hear that their car is totaled. People don't like it when they're injured or people die. So
Right.
it was pretty
Jeez.
pretty intense sometimes.
Yeah, man.
But it was also it was a call center job, so like I was working from home during the pandemic. That aspect was nice. I was getting paid really well, but
Nice.
I got really depressed with it. Like
Yeah, I'm sure.
it was a lot.
Yeah, I was losing my shit fucking working for Discover Card. I would go home like still like, oh my God, like I talked to somebody who told me they were dying today.
Yeah.
Like they weren't going to pay their credit card because they have cancer. They pretty much told me to fuck off and then got mad at me. It's like that happened 5 times. It's like, what the fuck, dude? How do I deal with all this? Like, it's just swimming in my head. It's like, I got to get out of this job, man. This sucks.
Talking to people that
Jeez.
almost died or their families because they did die. It was very weird. Trying to like handle their affairs. Or yeah.
Yeah, those rough phone jobs where you just have like minimal contact with these people. It's so crazy.
And you have like parameters that you have to meet, like 15-minute call time, 5 minutes, like claim handling, 5-minute claim handling, like stuff like that. Like, you need to get them in and out, and you're the first person that they have talked to since they had the accident. So they need a therapist. They don't need a claims adjuster.
Yeah.
The amount of people that have cried on the phone because just like all that trauma, they're just bringing it back up.
Yeah.
And then I take it, and then I'm on to the next call.
You need to brush that shit off.
Yeah.
You just brush that shit right off and go to the next call, man.
Yeah. It was a lot. I still think about that job. It's been 8 months. I still think about that job.
Yeah. I got fired from my phone job because there's my coworkers were getting upset that I was so like anxious at my desk. I would be like visibly anxious. Like I'd be like clenching my fists and fucking be like sweating and like just like breathing all hard. Like put the person on hold just to like look at the ceiling and like just get my bearings again. And like my coworkers were getting uncomfortable like with how upset I was. It was like shit. Somebody talk to HR.
I started smoking again after quitting.
Yeah. I was smoking during that job and I was still freaking out. But they told me like, what's stopping you from getting a new job? I was like, I can't pay my rent. Like, what do you mean? Like, I would have to go look for a new job, and like, it's like this one's nice. Like, it was nice. Like, they're like, well, what if we paid you out for 2 weeks? Could you go find another job? I was like, absolutely. It's like you're gonna just pay me 2 weeks to quit? Like, hell yeah, let's go. So I left that shit. Got lucky. They're just like, fired. Yeah, we don't need you here.
I started calling out, and I was working through like the FMLA, like trying to get some kind of like intermittent leave because it started getting bad where I would call in sick and then I used all my PTO because I kept calling in sick because I didn't want to get out of bed.
Yeah, man.
And it wasn't like I was using that day to go do something fun. I would call in sick and then not do anything. Because I was fucking depressed.
Just clench your teeth all day, pretty much.
Just like sleep and then wake up and be like, maybe I should eat. Skip meals, like not. It was bad.
Yeah, man. I think I was in that kind of position when I worked at QT. I worked at QT for a while, and I would call in sick and just do nothing because I was so strung out and just like fucking burnt out from like whatever week I worked. I did the night manager.
Yeah.
So I was the only one in the store, and like there was an apartment that surrounded the QT I was at, and there was like Section 8 housing, so it was like a lot of like poverty. So it would just be tweakers coming into the QT, like high as fuck, and like, dude, they don't talk to you like you're human. You're just another character in a video game, like, you know. So it's like.
And they're NPCs too.
Dude. Yeah, and like they just, it would fucking burn me out so bad trying to do the hundreds of tasks I had to do at night because they're like, oh yeah, you're at night, you have less customers, so you do all the cleaning. Like, okay, yeah, sure, but when somebody does come in, you have to sprint back to the register and help them, and then it's just some tweaker who like doesn't know what question to ask. And you're like, oh my god, dude.
That's always been a weird dynamic to me because. That's also the most unsafe time to be alone at a gas station.
Yeah. They're not always, like, most of the QTs have multiple people at night. They'll either have, like, a security guard with the night manager, or they'll have, like, a night manager and a clerk.
Depends on where it is for the security.
Yeah, it's based on location and, like, the traffic, like how busy it is.
Yeah.
Some of the QTs...
the intensity of the security, too, changes depending on where it is.
Oh, yeah, dude. There's ones that have 2 security guards. Like, those QTs suck, dude. I would never want to work. They have high school kids working there, too.
Yeah. When I stop at those ones, I'm like, hopefully I don't get shot here.
Yeah, like the one on Camelback. Camelback QT. That's a gem.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Some of them are just bad. You just walk into them and get the chills. Like, oof.
Yeah, the ones in Phoenix near, like, Glendale area.
Oh, yeah. I don't know any of them near the I-17.
Yeah, that whole area.
Anywhere down the freeway, man. Like, don't go to those. Like, only if you have to.
All of the 17 up until like Central Phoenix. I mean, even then, I guess, but like less so than like northern
I think once you
17
get
area.
once you get north of like Thunderbird,
Dunlap,
you're all right.
Camelback, Northern, that whole area. Like
Yeah, even Cactus, even the one on Cactus is pretty bad.
I used to take the light rail from Tempe to Dunlap, where the light rail ends, and then I would walk from Dunlap all the way to where the Art Institute was. I don't know exactly what crossroad, but I think it's like from the light rail on Dunlap to towards the freeway.
Art Institute's like 19th,
I think it's the
isn't
17th.
it? Like 19th Avenue or like 7th Avenue or something.
19th and Dunlap.
Yeah.
That's the intersection where the light rail ends. 19th and Dunlap.
Yeah, that QT is great.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a QT right there.
There's always fights at that one, dude. I saw some guy selling guns out of his trunk at that QT. I just rolled past and he's like showing off this fucking like this SMG. It's probably like some machine pistol, like off to some other dude out of his trunk, like just at a gas pump. What the fuck? Like, you guys realize cops roll through QTs all the time. Like, what are you doing?
I had this one dude. My girlfriend and I were walking to school, and this one Mexican dude, bald with face tats, was like, "Yo, you got a lighter?" And I did have a lighter, so I let him use it, but I was like, "Oh, this guy doesn't stab me."
Yeah, right.
He had a buddy with him too. So there's two of them. There was two of us.
Yeah,
and
there was a.
We're like skinny, long hair.
Yeah, I'd have this guy come into my QT. He's a regular. He'd always come in at night and grab like just a couple beers and leave. Like every single time, same thing. But he was just tatted up, like all in on the back of his head. He's just this bald Mexican guy with like a mustache, but he had on the back of his head he had an owl like tattooed, just a whole owl tattooed on the whole back of his head, and it just looked so fucking cool. But he just talked to me like normal. He would just tell me fucking stories. Just like mundane shit, like, oh, my girlfriend fucking blah 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 blah. Like, oh, that sucks, man. Like, it's like, obviously this guy's been to prison, like tatted the fuck up, and he just talked to me like I'm just one of his homies. Like,
I mean, nothing against tattoos, but like you can tell if they're gang tattoos or like stuff like that.
Well, you don't usually tattoo the whole back of your head for no reason, just because you like owls. Like that shit meant something. I don't know what.
Head on a swivel.
Something, yeah, probably something like that. Like,
I got eyes in the back of my head.
Honestly, that's probably what he would have said if I asked him about it. I didn't really ask him about his tattoos though.
The all-seeing owl.
Yeah, there's too many to ask about. So it's like I didn't know where to start. But I guess the owl would have been a good place to start, huh?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, man, what's with the owl?
He's like, who?
That would have been good, man. I should have done it. He was probably waiting the entire time to do that, huh? I just never gave it to him, man. Fuck.
He's waiting his whole life for it.
Never gave him the opportunity. That's probably why he talked to me in the first place. Oh, that shit was weird.
Wait, I gotta get something.
Yeah.
Just to show off the owl.
He's like trying so hard. It's like
the opportunity just never comes.
Yeah. That job was a trip, dude. I met a lot of crazy ass people. When you gotta go to that show? You gotta take off soon?
Yeah, I gotta get going.
All right, man. That's cool. We've had a pretty good conversation here.
How long has it been?
Let me check.
It's gotta be like 2 hours, right?
Yeah, we're at like an hour and 50. So
cool.
Pretty good episode.
How long do you usually run it for?
About 2 hours. It's pretty average length. One episode I went for 4.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this guy Jesse, he makes some pretty cool music. I like him. He does he might make some stuff you like, might be like up your alley, like your genre. His name is Jesse Mackle. He does everything in his living room. Produces all of his own music. And he's pretty damn good at mixing that shit too.
Does he have stuff on like Spotify?
Good. Yeah, you could probably look up Jesse Mackle. It's honestly, I think he does most of his stuff on Instagram. I don't know if he's got anything up on Spotify, like through DistroKid or anything like that. But I know he posts a lot of his his teasers and like trailers on Instagram. But that guy talked for 4 hours. Like, I don't think I had more than like 30 minutes of speech in that episode.
It was just him.
Yeah, but it was good, man. He had a lot of good information. He just kept going. I just let him go. Yeah, keep talking, man. Yeah, that was a long ass episode.
How do you spell his name?
JESSEMACKLE. I'm not sure if that's what his Instagram tag is. I gotta fucking look that up, but
Send that to me.
I will send it to you for sure.
And then what was the metal band?
Arcanaut?
Arcanaut.
Yeah, look them up too. Arcanaut. They just released a new demo called
Arcanaut.
Oppenheimer. But it's the song they wrote a while ago, but they just got the recording out for it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check them out.
Yeah, Arcanaut's cool, dude. They're like one of the heaviest bands around in Arizona. And like I said, man, it's hard to match them on a bill with anybody. It's just like, fuck, man. Condemned Till Dawn was good because they were the same way, like heavier than anyone else, dude. Holy shit. But just like explosive.
You have to have like hardcore, metalcore stuff open up for them.
Pretty much.
Like build up the energy.
We went to California and blew out a headlining band that was on tour. It was sad. Dude, everyone showed up for like the second to last band. Or they showed up for there was 4 bands playing. There was the first band, which was like the local band that brought all the people. And then it was Arcanaut. We were coming from Arizona, so we were like the curiosity. And then there was 2 bands that were on tour that the show was literally booked for. And so everybody was kind of curious about Arcanaut. And then the other 2 bands, they were like, oh, they'll probably be good. They're on tour. You know, it was like a safe bet. And they listened to their first band. They got all hyped up. Like, yeah, the locals, we love these dudes. And then Arcanaut goes on. And they started, and it was a different genre, dude. It was like death metal. Like heavy, hard, like evil as fuck. Just like... And everyone turned around like, what the fuck is this? Like, holy shit. And everybody got in and like started a mosh pit. Like, we got everyone hyped up.
Hell yeah.
And then the touring bands came and they were like some hardcore, like chuggy, like, you know, breakdown. Like, yeah, come on. And like everybody was like already burnt out. Like Arcanaut just like sent everybody to the moon and they're trying to get everybody back. It's like, nope. Everybody almost like people were leaving. Like it's like, oh fuck, dude, we just fucked over these dudes on tour.
Yeah,
it was pretty bad.
Sometimes that's also the promoter, like the placement of the bands.
Yeah, that was one of those email tours.
Email,
like just going through email, like, oh, just show up to this venue at this date. They're expecting you.
Was Arcanaut touring for that?
Arcanaut. Well, we just found a couple dates to like a couple shows
like
in
out-of-town
California.
shows?
Yeah, it was just 2 shows in California that we found. You know, one of them was called the Bancroft. That was it. The Bancroft is a cool fucking venue. If you can ever go play there, like just remember that name. That's a fucking dope. They have a huge fucking rooster painted on the wall. Like a giant cock. It's great, dude.
Nice.
And then we played at the Salty Frog.
The Salty Frog.
Yeah, somewhere in like Mission Beach. It's like a really like popular touristy area.
We actually haven't played California. It's on
cool,
the
man.
list.
San Diego's a cool place.
California would
cool
be
places.
interesting to break into. My vocalist lived in California for a while, and from what she gathered from living there, being in the music scene, it's kind of cutthroat.
There's a lot of bands.
Yeah.
Saturated.
Yeah.
You know, out here it's not so much. Just because, but
what's
there's
fascinating about being a touring band now,
Yeah.
like now that we've like progressed up to that point where we can say that, it's like you get like a different mentality.
What if you just say you're a touring band?
You could, I guess.
Just play it off like, oh yeah, man, we did plenty of shows in California. Just 2.
I mean, that's something. It's more than a lot of people.
We've done more like 4. But yeah, that was fun. We actually got an Airbnb. And they had like a pool, the waterfall. And
That
it was
sounds awesome.
Dope. We had like a vacation out of it.
We
Drinking
realized
beers at like 8 a.m. in the pool. Yeah.
our tour we had a kickoff show in Phoenix. Then we had a day where we just drove through New Mexico because we couldn't book in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason that Sunday we could not book. So it was 10 days total, and we realized we need a day somewhere to rest.
Yeah.
Because 10 days back to back, gigging,
not good.
driving, like
It's rough, man.
2
It's
a.m.,
rough.
waking up at maybe 10 to go drive again to the next state. It was rough.
You need to catch up on sleep at some point.
I mean, we slept, but like it's you're not in your bed.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of sleep.
It's not, you're not hitting REM sleep.
You're exhausted sleeping.
You're not dreaming. You're just closing your eyes.
I mean, you might. I don't know.
Depends on the drugs.
No drugs.
No drugs. None.
Some alcohol. Lots of weed.
Man. Well, anyways, I'm going to let you get going.
Do you mind if I plug some stuff?
Oh, yeah, go for it, man. Whatever you got to say.
All right. Where's the outlet?
The outlet?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah? It's right behind you.
All right. So I'm dropping under Tyler Stumpy Beck. That's my name. I'm dropping a album June 1st. It's the Phoenix College Sessions. It was recorded with Mario from Phoenix College. It's 9 tracks, acoustic singer-songwriter kind of stuff, emo, folk. Louis on Tour is playing a bunch of shows. Follow us on Instagram, Louis_on_tour_band. We're also on Facebook.
I'll put your links in the comments too, or
Right,
in the description. I'll have your links.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me on, Spencer.
Yeah, sure, man. It was fun. I like talking, so
It was nice meeting
this
you.
is a good conversation. I'm glad we could help share this with people. Hopefully they
Did you
share it with other people.
Yeah, share it, Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie.
Robbie.
All right, man. It's good talking with you.
You too.